Welcome back to the Silverbird Selection. I've had a couple of weeks off, refreshed myself a little bit. I've also been working on another gaming memories video which will be coming up in the next few weeks. So you can look forward to that along with more game reviews from the Silverbird Selection. Speaking of which, let's get on with one. And you might recall, if you've been following this series from the beginning, that when I originally started reviewing the games, I went through them in alphabetical order, playing one game with each letter of the alphabet that I had at that point in time. So I'm going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So I'm starting with Z and moving my way through to A over the next 2 or 3 months. So first up, as you'll have seen from the title of this video, is Zone Ranger. It's a Silver Range release from 1987, a re-release of an Activision game from 1984, although I'm not actually sure whether this game ever was released at full price in the UK. If you know, then let me know in the comments. I can see that there are disc and cartridge versions available on eBay, but the fact there's no cassette version makes me think it was never released in the UK at full price. So anyway, this game cost me £3.20. It's a pretty rare game to find out there. Don't see many copies. Let's take a look at Zone Ranger. Let's get back into it then, as we always do, by looking at the packaging for the game. And here's the front cover. Nice shade of purple, nice Zone Ranger logo on it. But then the images are a bit strange, because this to me looks like an image of Mr. Spock from Star Trek in a very bad spacesuit. And then this spaceship, if you want to call it that, most closely resembles, to my mind, this submersible Lotus Turbo Esprit from the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me, but in yellow instead of white. So yeah, a bit of a strange mix of images on the front there, kind of thrown together. The spine, as you'd expect, says Zone Ranger on it. And the back cover, as you'd expect, has a couple of screenshots, one of which looks to be an in-game screen and the other one is the title screen of the game. And the blurb about the game says, dangerous satellites, killer meteors, warp holes and boomerangs are all in a day's work for a Zone Ranger. Zone Ranger, by the way, obviously a play on words for the classic title of the Western, The Lone Ranger. So let's move inside the packaging. As you can see, big list of games here for the different systems. This shows that this was one of the later releases in the Silver Range packaging. So we'll move on to the instructions. Firstly, you've got the Silver Club application form, but what we're interested in is the instructions. And it says Zone Ranger, copyright Activision 1987. That's the date for this re-release, not the actual original release date, which was 1984, I believe. So for the overview of the game, it says you've been appointed a Zone Ranger. Your employer, the Cosmic Garbage Clearance Company, expect you to fulfill the task of orbital debris destruction. That's a mouthful. It goes on to say the star system has become littered with space junk, which apart from raising environmental concerns, presents space traffic with potentially hazardous obstacles. And that's actually kind of true now. There's so much junk up there, old satellites and broken up bits of space vehicles and things like that, that it's actually more difficult to travel into space now than it was when we first started travelling into space. So that's quite funny that that's obviously at that point was meant to be a bit of a joke, I suppose, but actually become true. So anyway, it goes on to say you've got to destroy satellites and watch out for space rocks and boomerangs and things like that. Then we go to the loading instructions. And the gameplay instructions are just the controls, and it tells you that you begin with 4 ships, you earn extra ones for every 1,000 points, and there's various descriptions of various items within the game that are either useful or detrimental to your progress. It does say the Skyway Patrol will help in satellite destruction, and daring rangers may venture into the 7th dimension, where points come easy but lives are short. Here we have the loading screen for the game then. As you can see, it says Zone Ranger, nice big space helmet, which is not really representative of what's going on in the game, I don't think. I guess that's just like that because that's how the original packaging of the game was when Activision released it. But you can see that this is an exclusive loading screen for Firebird because the Firebird logo is in the bottom left there, and the name of the artist of this is quite clearly Bob, as it says in the bottom right there. Quite nice loading screen, although I don't think, as I said, that it's particularly representative of what goes on in the game. Here we have the title screen for the game then. As you can see, it's definitely got an arcade attract mode style to it. You can see the ship moving around in the background with various objects, and you've got the title there, Zone Ranger, and it says by Dan Thompson, copyright 1984 Activision. The only options are 1 or 2 player mode, which you can choose by pressing F3. You can see the number of ships changes at the bottom of the screen there. Obviously I'm going to play it in 1 player mode. You can also see across the top of the screen you've got level number high score, number of ships and amount of time left, which keeps randomly changing for some reason, but there you go, that's how it is on the title screen. So pretty nice presentation, no music or anything like that, but otherwise quite nicely done. So just before I kick off the gameplay, just want to mention that this is one of those games with a lot of black in the background, with a lot of small sprites moving around on it, and that usually means that the camera can sometimes lose a bit of focus. I've tried to get it configured as best I can, but it inevitably happens from time to time, so apologies for that. I am actually investing in some new hardware for recording my gameplay videos, which should make those sort of problems a thing of the past when I get it all set up. So you can look forward to that in the near future, but for now this is how it's going to be. So let's get on and play the game. So you materialise in the zone and you're flying around. I would say the gameplay initially seems like a mixture of asteroids, and that's because you can shoot these asteroids and they break up into small asteroids, and also a bit like Sinistar maybe in the way you move around. So it's not rotational controls. If you push up you go up, push down you go down, and so on. That allows you to move around. That's very like Sinistar controls. So the idea of the game is to clear the asteroids secondary really. The main thing you've got to do is shoot these satellites, which are firing these little green beams out. The green beams don't destroy you. Later on they turn into red beams, which do. So yeah, you fly around. There's various things you can also interact with, which I'll show in a second when it's floating past. This little sparkly star thing here, when you get that, that's temporary invulnerability. Little tune plays while you've got it, and you can see a bar going down at the bottom of the screen that's running out. You can also fly into these warp holes which warp you to somewhere else in the gameplay area. So yeah, you fly around, shoot the satellites. The idea of the level is to get rid of all the satellites before the time runs out, and to assist you with that, although it's not entirely clear when you first start playing, it took me a while to work this out, you can go into this maze here, which changes the view of the screen, and you're now in this maze. You're not destructible at any point in this maze at the moment. Maybe that changes on later levels. But if you fly around this maze, avoiding the obstacles, you can bounce into the sides. Some pong bats moving backwards and forwards. So you fly around the maze, you collect those little glowing orbs that I've collected a couple of. There's another one. Eventually you'll reach one of these yellow blocks which allow you to leave the level, but I'm actually going to carry on a little bit further. Just, yeah, fly around here. There's not really much to say. It's quite nicely presented. A bit of a get my words out, vector graphics style to that, which again is a very arcade style look. It's not vector graphics, obviously it's drawn with sprite raster graphics, but it's got the vector style to it. Oh, sneak through there. Some bits are easy to get through than others. I'm bouncing around all over the place here. Oh, I've bounced back through. Oh, there we go. That worked out okay. So I've collected quite a few of those glowing orbs now, so I'm going to go back to the main gameplay area. You see this little robot thing comes along and he collects those off you. That's how I'm interpreting it anyway, because he doesn't do that until you've been in to the maze thing. And he's actually going to go off and destroy a lot of these satellites. You'll see big flashes on the screen. There we go, there's one of them. So he's actually helping you out, or it. He's not really a him, it's just a spaceship of some kind. So yeah, basically I've got to try and find the rest of the satellites and blow them up. There's another one gone. Running out of time, so basically if you just fly up and down the screen, eventually you'll find them all. Here's another one. Any more? There can't be many left now. Here's another one. Yeah, I'm running out of time now. Oh, shoot the damn thing. For heaven's sake. There we go. Still some left somewhere. Oh, and I've run out of time and blown up. But it doesn't reset the level, I don't think. No, it doesn't. There we go. Just respawn. And you can then... I've just got to find the remaining ones and blow them up, basically. Strangely, you fly up and down a lot slower than you do left to right, so the best option is actually to go in a diagonal. There's one of them. Can't be many more left now, surely. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, but there we go. Come on, where are they? Ooh. There's one. No, still some to find. It's getting quite annoying now. Considering this is the first level, it does take a long time to get everything. You can actually see the number of lasers being fired seems to have diminished somewhat. There's nothing going left to right at the moment. Here we go. Hopefully this is the last one. Yep, there we go. Finally completed the level. It goes on, counts down the remaining time to give you a bonus. And then you move on to the next stage, eventually. Here we go. And it's more of the same, not much changes really, except you will start to see some enemies flying around, as well as the other objects that we've already seen. So, graphically, it's quite nice. The asteroids are nicely drawn. The spaceship's very small, but it's nicely animated. The other things are pretty abstract sort of, drawings, nothing too amazing about them, but pretty nice graphics. Sound is fairly straightforward. It's your typical space shoot 'em up sounds. A little tune when you've got that invulnerability thing, a sparkly thing, but otherwise not a lot to write home about in the sound. Gameplay wise, pretty nice. It's a typical arcade style blaster, fairly repetitive I'd say. Let's get back in here and get some of these bomb things again, or whatever they are. And the layout of this does change in terms of the objects. The distribution of the objects within the maze does change to some extent, I believe. I'm guessing as you progress through the game, you might get things that are more hostile in these mazes as well. I've not got too far through the game. It took me a while to work out what I was doing, probably 5 or 6 playthroughs before I understood what the actual purpose of the game was and what purpose these mazes served. So let's just try and get through here again. You can get stuck there for a long time if you're unlucky with your manoeuvring. So yeah, not really much more to say about the game. I will progress through and see how far I get. There was one other thing I've not mentioned actually, which was mentioned in the instruction. You can actually warp to level 7, which makes it a heck of a lot harder. So if I can find that warp when I get back out into the main space zone, then I'll demonstrate that. So once again, this robot thing will come and collect the stuff off you. You see it comes close to you and then disappears off, and it'll go and blow some of these satellites up. Presumably that's what it's doing with the big flashes. You never actually see it on the screen, I don't think. Just noticed there was an enemy there. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to that. No, there's another spaceship. There you go, there's some kind of enemy there. It was just on the right hand side, just a shot. Oops. Oh. Now I've seen this happen before, and actually the game's just completely reset itself for some reason. You can see my score's gone back down to 0. Oops, crashed there. And my number of ships went back to 3, and I had more than 3 because I'd got more than 1,000 points and not lost any lives. So that is intensely annoying. You can see I'm also back on level 1, and I don't know if something triggers that off or if that's actually a bug. But yeah, I've seen that a few times and that's really infuriating. So what I'm going to do now is try and find that gateway to Zone 7, which hopefully I'll find eventually. And then just show that, and that'll be the end of it. That is really frustrating, and I've no idea if it's something within the game as I'm playing it that's doing that, or if it's actually just a bug. I mean, it is a bug, surely. You wouldn't want that by design. Come on, where's this? There we go. So here's the gateway to level 7. So if I go in there, you can see I walked to level 7 as it says on the screen. And it's more of the same, but straight away you can see you've got the red beams coming from some of the satellites, so that makes it harder. Can't even shoot that for some reason. And there's also things flying around that will home in on you as well. So the one thing you do get though is a bonus straight away of 7,500 points. So straight away it makes life a heck of a lot easier. Well, not easier, but it makes your score a lot higher. So if you're playing for high scores, that's your gateway. I'm not sure what's happened there. It's reset again. It's gone back to level 1. Yeah, that's just annoying as hell. So yeah, I'm just going to kill myself off now because that's really irritating. No idea why it does it, but it has to be a bug. Whether it's a bug just in this version of the game and the Activision version didn't have that bug, I'm not sure, but that's really disappointing in terms of being able to progress in the game. Yeah, let's just kill myself off after this. You've seen enough, I've seen enough. You can see as the levels progress, it gets harder, as you'd expect. That should kill me off, I think. Maybe I've got a life left, I'm not sure. I have. One more. There we go. Let's get back to the menu. Mission terminated. Back at the title screen then, let's go through the review scores. So firstly, the packaging was a bit strange. The front cover image was peculiar. It was nice purple, nice logo, but the other images on the front cover were a bit poor. Instructions were slightly vague as well, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for packaging. Presentation though is nice title screen, high scores recorded as well, nicely put together. Nothing much more to say about it other than it's nice. So 7 out of 10 for that. Graphics in game are nice as well. I just keep saying nice now for some reason, but yeah, you can see them here. The asteroids are nicely drawn. They're pretty small in most cases, the graphics, but nicely put together. Again, just keep saying nice for some reason, so I'm going to go 7 for the graphics. Sounds are fairly basic, nicely done, with the usual sort of space sound effects, explosions and lasers and things like that, but nothing too much to write home about, and no music, so I'm going to give the sound a 6. And the playability, well, it's a pretty straightforward arcade style space shooter, bit of variety in as much as you can go into those mazes and collect those items, and once you work out what to do, it's a good game, and you know, it does progress, the difficulty does progress from one stage to another. So yeah, good arcade style blaster. However, the fact that it's got that bug in it which makes you restart and reset is really frustrating, so that's annoying. So I was going to give it 7 out of 10 for playability. I'm going to knock it down to 6 because of that bug. Not really necessarily the programmer's fault, although maybe it is. It's hard to say for sure. Only anyone who's played the original Activision version could really tell me whether that bug is present in that version of the game. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for playability. That gives it an overall score of 7. And I would say that, well, it's hard to say. I'd definitely say it's worth $1.99 as long as you don't experience that bug. If you do, then it's a bit frustrating, really, isn't it? So there you go. That's my thoughts on Zone Ranger. Interesting game from Activision. And let me know your thoughts about it in the comments if you've got any. Particularly if you know anything about that bug and whether that was by design or not. I don't know how it could have been. But that's it for this review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.